What did ancient humans do during a solar eclipse? Right now, scientists can tell you the exact second a solar eclipse will happen, down to the minute years in advance. We put on special glasses, we set up cameras, we plan parties. It's entertainment. But for almost all of human history, a solar eclipse meant something completely different. It meant the sun was dying, in the middle of the day, without warning. And ancient humans had absolutely no idea why. Imagine that for a second. You're going about your normal day, hunting, gathering, talking with your group, and then the sky starts to darken in the middle of the afternoon. The temperature drops, birds go silent, and the sun, the thing that has never once failed to rise, starts disappearing. What would you do? What ancient humans actually did during these moments is stranger, more desperate, and more human than you could imagine. Let's start with the most basic question. Did ancient humans even understand what was happening? The honest answer is no. Not for most of human history. For early humans, the ones living tens of thousands of years before written language, a solar eclipse would have been one of the most terrifying experiences imaginable. There was no science, no explanation, no way to know this was temporary. All they knew was this: the sun was the single most reliable thing in their entire world. It rose every single day. It gave light. It gave warmth. It made plants grow. And now, without warning, it was vanishing. Some researchers believe ancient stone carvings, spiral patterns found in places like Ireland, may represent some of the earliest human attempts to record this terrifying event. A circle, slowly disappearing, carved into rock by someone who had no other way to process what they had just witnessed. But here's where it gets fascinating, because once humans developed language and eventually civilization, different cultures around the world tried to explain this same terrifying phenomenon, and almost every single one of them landed on the same idea. Something was eating the sun. In ancient China, going back over 4,000 years, people believed a celestial dragon was devouring the sun. And their response? They didn't run. They didn't hide. They fought back. Entire communities would grab pots, pans, drums, anything that made noise, and bang them as loudly as possible. The goal was simple: scare the dragon, make so much noise that the creature eating the sun would get frightened and spit it back out. And here's the thing: it worked every single time, because of course it did. The eclipse was always going to end on its own. But imagine being an ancient Chinese farmer who banged a drum during a terrifying eclipse and watched the sun return minutes later. You wouldn't think it was coincidence. You would think you saved the sun. The fear wasn't limited to China. In ancient Greece, the word for eclipse literally meant abandonment. The Greeks believed the gods were punishing their king, and their solution was almost unbelievable. In the days leading up to a predicted eclipse, some rulers would actually find a substitute. A commoner, dressed as the king, placed on the throne. The idea was that if the gods were about to strike down the king, they would strike the wrong person instead. After the eclipse ended, the substitute king would be executed, just in case the danger wasn't fully over. Let that sink in. An entire human life ended because of fear of something completely natural that lasted only a few minutes. Then there's the Maya, a civilization so advanced in astronomy they could actually predict eclipses years in advance using complex calendars. They knew it was coming. They knew mathematically almost exactly when. And yet, despite all that knowledge, they still believed the eclipse meant the sun was being broken, injured, wounded, and to heal it, Maya rulers performed bloodletting rituals, piercing their own skin, offering blood, believing this sacrifice would restore the sun to full health. Think about that. A civilization smart enough to predict the eclipse to the day, still terrified enough to spill their own blood to fix it. Across the ocean, the Inca had their own explanation. They worshipped a powerful sun god named Inti. To the Inca, Inti was the source of all life. So when the sun disappeared during the day, there was only one explanation. Inti was furious. Leaders would try to determine what had angered him and offer sacrifices to calm his rage and convince him to bring the sun back. And then, far to the north, the Norse had perhaps the most dramatic explanation of all. According to Norse mythology, two enormous wolves named Skull and Hati were eternally chasing the sun and moon across the sky. If the wolves ever succeeded in catching their prey, it wouldn't just mean darkness. It would mean the end of the world. Ragnarok. So when a solar eclipse occurred, Norse communities did exactly what the Chinese did thousands of miles away, completely independently. They made as much noise as humanly possible, trying to scare the wolves away before they could finish what they started. But not every culture responded with fear and panic. Among the Batamaliba people of West Africa, a solar eclipse was interpreted completely differently. According to their tradition, the sun and moon were fighting, and the eclipse was a sign that human anger here on Earth was somehow spreading upward, infecting the sky itself. So their response wasn't drums or sacrifice. It was peace. During an eclipse, the Batamaliba would actively seek out old enemies, people they had feuded with for years. And in that moment of cosmic darkness, they would make amends, forgive old grudges, come together, because if human conflict could somehow cause this, then human peace might be the only thing capable of fixing it. There's even a documented case where an eclipse may have actually stopped a war. In the year 585 BCE, two ancient kingdoms, the Lydians and the Medes, had been locked in brutal warfare for 5 straight years. And then, in the middle of a battle, the sky suddenly went dark. Both armies, terrified, immediately stopped fighting. Within hours, the two sides had negotiated a peace treaty. A natural celestial event, completely random in timing, may have ended a war that human diplomacy alone couldn't stop. So what does all of this tell us? Across completely different continents, China, Greece, the Americas, Scandinavia, Africa, separated by oceans with zero contact with each other, ancient humans almost universally interpreted the same event the same way. Something is wrong with the sky, and we must respond, whether that response was noise, sacrifice, fear, or even forgiveness. The underlying instinct was identical. When the most predictable thing in the universe suddenly breaks its pattern, the human mind cannot stay passive. It has to act, even if that action is banging a pot with a wooden spoon at the sky. Today, we know exactly what's happening during an eclipse. The moon, simply passing between the Earth and the sun. A predictable, harmless, beautiful coincidence of orbital mechanics. We put on glasses, we take photos, we watch in wonder, not terror. But the next time you see one, think about your ancestors, standing in fields, in villages, on mountaintops, watching their entire understanding of reality seem to collapse in real time, and doing something, anything, to bring the light back. The fear is gone now, but the instinct that made them act, that's still inside you.